Give me 1 second. Getting ready to go live also on Facebook. Cool. So welcome to the Young CEO Mastermind Call. This is Andre Kennedy, your host. Just coming at you guys once again with some financial literacy information, trying to help you guys get to the next level, right? So today I wanted to talk a little bit about credit repair and the process that goes on behind closed doors that you guys don't really get to see, right? Because usually us credit repair agents or credit repair specialists are here to help you guys to fix your credit. All right, so I'm going to go behind the scenes and kind of show you guys a little bit about what it takes to do some credit repair, right? Because a lot of you guys are stuck with bad credit and you're trying to figure out how can you repair your credit on your own, right? Because that's one of the major things that we need, right, to get through in this life is to build our credit, build the capital, get funding, whether it be to buy your first home, buy your first car, right? You guys are getting a lot of your taxes back, and you might go to the dealership and they're still going to ask you for your credit, right? Because they want to make sure that you guys can make those monthly payments on time. Okay. So your credit is basically the score that will show these banks and these lenders that you're capable of making on-time payments consistently over a long period of time, right? So let's talk a little bit about credit repair and a little bit about what goes into the process, right? So if you guys don't know who I am, my name is Andre Kennedy. I'm 30 years old as of December of last year, December 13th. Just turned 30. I own 6 vehicles as of now, all of which I rent. I rent out to other people for cash flow. And then I also own 3 properties. Okay, so one of which we live in and 2 of which are rentals. I'm actually doing a owner finance on one of the properties coming April. So the tenants that's actually living there now, I'm extending them the opportunity to do a rent to own. Okay, so you guys want to have extra strategies when it comes to real estate. You want to be able to, get in, get out, make a profit, and then move on to the next ones, right? Especially if they're only single family, right? My eyes are locked in on multifamily properties, so I'm in it for the long-term game. And that's, really where I'm at. So, but in order to get to, a point of success, and I'm not saying I'm, financially all the way where I want to be, right? I haven't touched 1 million yet, but I've definitely touched a significant amount where I believe I can help the next individual get to the next level. Okay, so with that being said, it all starts with your credit, right? Getting your credit fixed, using it to build capital, and using that capital to leverage to buy assets that cash flow that make you money. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about credit repair in the process, right? Some of you guys have late payments, some of you guys have collections, charge-offs, repossessions. There's so many things that I've seen over the course of helping people with their credit that have been on their credit profiles, and we help them get them removed, right? So let's talk a little bit about the process, okay? Now, I will tell you this, credit repair, you cannot expect credit to be fixed overnight, okay? You cannot expect your credit to be fixed overnight. This is a process and it takes time. Why? Because for one, first of all, minimum 30 days, because the credit repair agency, right, TransUnion, Equifax, or I'm sorry, the credit bureaus, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, imagine they have millions and millions and billions of letters coming in on a daily basis, right? People are trying to fix their credit. So you are one in that number, and it's going to take time for them to, one, get to your letter, and 2, to respond to your letter. Okay. So you have to understand that credit repair is not an overnight process. This is something that takes a little bit of time, right? And you have to be patient and you have to be diligent, right? Because if you have 1 million people sending you letters and some of them are bogus letters, some of them are just, fluff, And some of them are legitimate people who have suffered from identity theft, and people have stolen their identity and used it to run up, credit card debt and things like that. You got to understand that this is a process, and, it's not guaranteed and it's not going to happen overnight. Okay. So there's many delay tactics that the bureaus use, such as, if you don't necessarily sign your letters. Sometimes they might say, oh, this is a third party and we're not going to receive this letter. We're sending this back to you to notify you that, we can't receive this letter. We need some proof, some documentation that this is in fact you who sent this letter to us. Okay. So there's stall tactics that they use. There's certain letters that we've gotten back that they said, hey, this is coming from a credit repair agency. We need this to be, authorized by you, and certain things like that, right? So we've gotten letters like that coming back to where we had to reissue another letter to the same exact credit bureau in order to get these items removed. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the process, right? So first and foremost, you guys need to understand there's two different credit scores. And why am I telling you guys this? Because, you guys are going to hear this a lot out here in the credit repair space. You'll hear that, there's a Vantage score and there's your FICO score. Okay. I will tell you this: majority of lenders, banks, auto lenders, they're going to pull your FICO score. Okay. So what you're seeing on your Credit Karma is not your FICO score. Okay. That's what's known as your Vantage scoring model. Okay. What does that mean? That means that it's the same information. Okay. You'll see the same inquiries. You'll see the same age of history on Credit Karma. You'll see the same accounts on Credit Karma. You'll see all the correct data, but the score is a little bit different, right? So the score, you might have a 620 on TransUnion, Equifax on Credit Karma, and on Experian, your FICO score might be a 580 or something like that. So the scores are going to be off, okay? But the accurate score is your FICO score. Now on Experian, that score is showing your FICO score. So you can kind of pretty much be guaranteed that that score is correct and that's the most accurate score. But that's only one of your credit bureaus, right? There's three major credit bureaus. There's TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. So I'm telling you guys this because when we go to do credit repair, we want to have all of your accurate scores. We want to have all of your FICO scores, not your Vantage scores. Okay, so your Credit Karma is going to tell us a little bit about the information that's on your profile, but it's not necessarily going to show us the accuracy and everything that made up your credit score for that scoring model, the FICO. Okay, so how we're going to find your FICO score is going to be going through your Identity IQ credit report. Okay, so I have a link for the Identity IQ credit report where you can get it for $1. Okay, it's $1 for 7 days in order to get access to your FICO scores from Identity IQ. You can also get your FICO scores from freecreditreport.com, my annual credit report.com. That's what it is. So you have to Google that. You click on the link, you go put some, they're going to ask you to verify some personal information just to make sure that it's you. And then they're going to give you access to all three of your scores for free. Okay. My link costs $1. Okay. Now it is a subscription for Identity IQ, which means if you go past 7 days, right, that $1 is a 7-day free trial, or 7-day dollar trial, you can say. Okay. So for 7 days, you'll have that access to your credit report for $1. After the 7 days, they charge you $29.99 per month. Okay. So it's very important for us to work diligently to pull your credit report. But once you have your credit report, you can save it. You can download it on your computer, on your phone. You can, hold your file, and then you can pretty much cancel your subscription unless you need to pull it again. Okay, so that's kind of where I'm at as far as helping individuals with their credit. Is we'll get your credit report from Identity IQ for $1, and before the 7 days, we'll have you cancel. I'll just have you pull your profile, and you'll send me over your information as far as your credit report. I'll take a look at it and see what we need to dispute. Okay, so that's pretty much step number one to repairing your credit is pulling your actual FICO scores from Identity IQ or myannualcreditreport.com. Okay, there's some other ones out there as well. I think it's credit score something. There's a couple of them, but those are the two main ones that we recommend. Okay, Identity IQ or myannualcreditreport.com. Okay, so that's number one. You need to pull your credit. Number two is going to be you need to update your personal information. Okay. Now, once you get your credit report, you need to check for inaccuracies. Okay. A lot of times you have misinformation. Maybe you applied for something and you might have spelled your name wrong at one point in time. Okay. You need to make sure all of your names are accurate, right? And that's one thing that can really also help you boost your credit score is just simply changing and updating your personal information. Okay, now what I recommend doing is calling these three major credit bureaus, and I actually have the phone numbers. If you need the phone numbers, reach out to me. I have a PDF which I incorporated in my course, in my program, where you guys get access to the phone numbers, but it's as easy as Googling it on Google and finding the phone numbers of all three of the credit bureaus, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. Okay, so you need to be able to call these three credit bureaus and update your personal information, right? Sometimes it might just be, my name is Andre Kennedy, okay? And they might have Andre something else, right? It might be just Andre, and they might have my middle initial wrong, right? My middle name is David. They might have Andre L. Kennedy or something like that, right? That's incorrect personal information. If it's not Andre Kennedy specifically, I'm going to ask them to remove it from my credit profile. Why? Because, and this is a major key point to credit repair, is when you have inaccurate information, sometimes that inaccurate information is attached to those derogatory accounts that you're trying to remove. Okay, so if we do the cleanup process, which is removing those old inaccurate names and addresses and things like that on your profile, that's going to help to disassociate you with maybe one of those old debts that you have. Okay. So, when they go to check and see if this was you who created this debt on your profile, they're going to see that name is no longer existing on your profile because you called the credit bureaus and you removed that old name or that old address that you may have once lived at, but you no longer live. And here's the fact right here is that anything that's reporting on your profile that is not current is inaccurate, right? If I don't live at that address any longer, how do they know I ever lived there in the first place? Okay. And it shouldn't be on my profile in general. Okay. So this is one key to getting some items removed off of your profile is just simply calling the credit bureaus and updating your personal information. Okay. Letting them know this is the only address that I live at. No other address on my profile is correct. This is the only name that I am associated with. No other name on this account should be on here because that is not my name. Okay. And there's phone numbers that they have on your profile. There's even your social security number is on your profile. Okay. You need to be able to call the credit bureaus and update all of your personal information. So that's going to be step number two. After you've pulled your credit report from Identity IQ or myannualcreditreport.com, you're going to update your personal information. Okay. So now we're going to get into a little bit of the nitty gritty stuff, right? And this is just things that kind of help your chances of getting these negative items removed. Okay. Now, I'm not saying the debt is yours and I'm not saying it isn't yours, but this is just a general method on how we get these items removed. Whether it is actually your debt or not, the burden of proof is on the furnisher, right? Whoever's reporting that data, whether it be whatever bank you might have accrued that debt from, or whatever lender or whatever, whoever you took the loan out from, or even the phone companies, they report, your old phone bills and things like that. The burden of proof is on them. If they don't have proof that you actually owe this debt, then they need to remove it. It doesn't need to be on your profile. Okay, as simple as that. Right? I don't care if you actually owe the debt and you sign that paper or not. If they don't have proof, then it can be removed. Okay. So, with that being said, this is a little behind the scenes tactic that people utilize, and we actually utilize it as well. But it's called freezing the secondary bureaus. Okay, not a lot of people understand that there is secondary bureaus out there. Okay, so yes, there's the three main credit bureaus, which is TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, but there's also secondary bureaus as well. Okay, and a lot of times people they say we are freezing the snitches, right? Because um, this is basically what happens, right? So TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, they also, when they're in the investigation process of investigating your dispute, which is what we're going to get to, but before we get to disputing, we want to make sure we freeze the secondary bureaus. But during the dispute process and the investigation process, they're going to check and see, is this you who created this debt? So one of the methods and tactics that they utilize is referring back to secondary bureaus. And the secondary bureaus are ARS, Innovis, SageStream, CoreLogic, and LexisNexis, right? So there's about 5 secondary bureaus that you need to freeze. Okay. And what is freezing, right? You guys might not understand what freeze is. A freeze is basically you stopping information from being leaked that they have on you. Okay. So these secondary bureaus are bureaus that collect data, right? That's what they're in the business of doing. So anytime you filled out an application online, you might have, applied for something and got denied or whatever the case may be, that information was stored somewhere. That information, sorry about that. The train is going past. But anyways, that secondary bureau is in the business of storing your data, your information. Okay. So what these credit bureaus do, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, they're like the big brothers, but they're going to go to these secondary bureaus and see, hey, did we ever have this person's name as this and this person's address is this on file? And if in fact it is, then that's how some items get verified on your credit profile. And that kind of stops the deletion of the account, right? Because it was verified then. Okay, so what we do is we go and we freeze those secondary bureaus. Okay, so we're putting a halt on these secondary bureaus, and they're no longer able to go back and pull that information from those 5 secondary bureaus that we talked about. Okay, so that's another strategy to maybe increase your potential deletions and getting items removed from your credit profile. Okay, so that was number 3, freezing the secondary bureaus. Now, we're going to have to identify which items are negative on your profile. Okay, that's going to be number 4. It's just basically going through the data that's on your Identity IQ credit report. Okay, we're going through the data that's on your Identity IQ credit report, and we're actually going to pinpoint what are the errors, right? This is called factual disputing. Okay, there's different methods. You'll hear of Metro 2 disputing. You'll hear of, consumer law, which is also a part of factual disputing. But when you know consumer law, you basically can word your dispute letters as to where they understand, right? The credit company, the bureaus are not unknowledgeable of what the consumer law says. So you don't necessarily need to quote laws in your dispute letters. Okay. That is a tactic that people use, but it's irrelevant in my opinion because they already know the law. So you restating it to them doesn't really help the matter. But I mean, it's like apples to apples. Some people will say it's beneficial. Some people will say it's not. We're getting the same results whether or not we incorporate the laws or not, right? As long as we're wording our dispute letters the proper way, we will get them items deleted. Okay, so right, that's part of step number 4, which is identifying the negative errors on your credit report. So a lot of times you'll see, TransUnion will be reporting date last open. Okay, you'll see on your profile, you'll go to the account and you'll see the date last open might be in 2022. Okay, it's 2024 right now, right? So the date last open was 2022, and on TransUnion, but on Equifax it says the date last open was 2023. Okay, so we automatically zeroed in and we seen now these two bureaus are reporting two different things. Okay, one is saying that we opened an account in 2022, the other one's saying we opened it in 2023. That is a error that is reporting on your credit report, and that's a reason to get that item deleted. Okay, simple as dates. That can get them items deleted because remember, the key here is anything reporting on your credit reporting on your credit report must be accurate and verifiable. Okay, if it's not accurate and verifiable, it can be deleted. Okay, like I said, if they don't have proof or if it's reporting wrong, even if the balance, sometimes a lot of times the balance is wrong, right? They might say you owe $100 on TransUnion, you owe $100 on Equifax, but on Experian it says you owe $200. Okay, so how are all three bureaus not getting the same information? Somebody has to be wrong. And if there is, in fact, discrepancies on your profile, that is a reason for these items to get deleted. Okay, so that's as simple as it gets, right? We're just zeroing in on what items are listed on a line by line basis that are inconsistent, and we're pinpointing those errors and writing them in our dispute letter. Okay, so along with that is also your account number. Okay, so when you're looking at your identity IQ report, and you'll notice this on Credit Karma, it doesn't show you the account number, right? But when we're disputing items on our credit report, we need to incorporate what the name of the account is and the account number associated with that account. Okay, that's what you'll find on your Identity IQ credit report is the name of the account and also the account number, right? That's very important because it makes the dispute process a lot quicker and a lot more efficient because now they're able to see what exactly account you are talking about, right? They have a line by line basis, and they're going to go in and they're going to use their method to process your dispute letter, and that's all they're doing, right? The people at TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, they get paid whatever, $15 an hour, $20 an hour, right? So they're in the process of just typing up what you wrote in your dispute letter and sending it off to the original furnisher. And the original furnisher's job is to tell whether or not this is actually your account and if they have proof or not. And if they don't, they need to send that back to the credit bureau. And once the credit bureau gets that information, then they can make the decisions based on what they're going to do moving forward, whether they're going to delete the account, update the account, or keep it the way it is, right? Well, a lot of times if it's wrong, right? So it needs to be deleted. Okay, so we're talking about credit repair in the process and what you guys need to do in order to get these negative items removed. Okay, so we just talked about, pretty much identifying those negative items. Now, when we go to draft our dispute letter, okay, let me pull up an example letter. I think I have one here. I just want to read the beginning sentence, right? So At the beginning of your dispute letter, you're going to want to put in the top right-hand corner, it's just like a letter, right? You're just writing a letter to the credit bureaus, right? But you need to send three because there's three major credit bureaus. You're going to send the same letter to Equifax. You're going to send the same letter to TransUnion, and you're going to send the same letter to Experian, Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. Okay. Now on your letter, you're going to put in the right-hand corner up at the top, you're going to put the date. Okay. What is today's date, right? You're going to put Sunday, February 18th, 2024. Okay. Right. Or whatever day it is that you're drafting up your letter, right? You go on your computer, you go to WordPress, or you go to, one of the sites I use, which is Canva. A lot of you guys might be familiar with Canva if you're business owners. You might have drafted your logos or whatever the case may be. But you can draft up documents however you draft up your documents. This is how you're going to want to put it in your letter. Okay. At the top right hand corner, you're going to put the date. Okay. And then on the left hand side, right, you're going to use your tab button. You're going to go to the left hand side. You're going to put your name. You're going to put the date. Or I'm sorry, you're not going to put the date. You put the date in the right hand corner. You're going to put your name. You're going to put the address. You're going to put your social security number, and you're going to put your phone number. Okay. This is just simply making it easier for the credit bureaus to process your dispute letters. Okay. So you're going to put the name, Andre Kennedy, my address, my social security number, and my phone number. Okay. On this letter. Okay. So that's kind of like your header, right? That's your header for your letter. Okay. This is how we organize our dispute letters to make it easier for the bureaus to process our dispute letters. So they're not just mumbling through fluff, right? Now, in our letter, this is going to be like the body of your letter. Okay, you're going to put Dear Credit Bureau, okay, because you're sending this to all three credit bureaus. So you don't want to put Dear TransUnion or Dear Equifax. I mean, you can if you want, but then you're going to have to, instead of just copy and pasting the letter three times, you're going to have to make the letter three times because you're going to have to put Dear TransUnion, Dear Equifax, Dear Experian, right? But me personally, I'll just put Dear Credit Bureau, okay? Dear Credit Bureau, after a thorough review of my credit report, hold on, I'm reading this to you guys off of a letter I just drafted. After a thorough review of my credit report, I was alarmed to see a few errors on my credit report. I am writing to dispute the following information on my credit report, which I believe to be inaccurate. Okay, so that's going to be pretty much the beginning. That's how you're going to start off your letters. And it's a very simple process. You can copy and paste that over and over and over again because you can use that same thing for every single letter. Same header, name, address, phone number, social security number, top hand corner in the right is your date, and Dear Credit Bureau, and you're writing this to the credit bureaus. Okay. Now in the body of your letter, you're going to put the account, right? You're going to put what you're disputing. And I found these inaccurate items on my credit report, right? So underneath that, I usually put a colon after that. And then I put underneath that, I'll go forth and dispute each and every account that I see with inaccuracies on my credit report or my client's credit report. Okay. So we're going to put an account from, okay. And a lot of you guys might already have this on your profile or you've seen this, but these are collection companies, right? Collection companies. So what happens is you default on a debt, on a loan payment, right? Auto loan, whatever. You default on it, and then it goes to a collection agency. Okay, so what they did was they sold the debt to a secondary company. Okay, the collection companies are in the process of making money. That's what they do. They buy your debt from the original furnisher, right? So they alleviate the original furnisher. So if you had a bill from Comcast, right? Let's just use Comcast as an example. You had an old bill from Comcast. Comcast is not going to hound you and chase you for the money, except for after the first 30 days, they might, try to get collected from you. But after that, they pretty much give up, right? And they'll sell it off to a collection company. Okay. The collection company have bought that debt now. Let's say you owed $1,000, just for the sake of numbers. Let's say you owed $1,000 to Comcast. Okay. Comcast is going to sell your debt to a collection company for maybe $500. Okay, so they sold it for half of what you actually owed. Okay, so they sold it to, CNAC Inc. 101. Okay, that's a collection company. So they sold it to CNAC. I'm just going to say CNAC, which is a collection company, for $500. Now, CNAC's job as a collection company is to come after you for the original $1,000 that they're saying that you owed. Okay. So what are they making off of that as profit? They're doubling their money, right? If they bought it from Comcast for 500, they're going to come after you for the whole 1,000. So they're making another 500 on top of, what they bought it for. Okay. That's how collection companies make their money. Okay. And they're going to hound you for that money as if you really owe the whole amount, which technically you do if you created the debt. But if they don't have the proof, if they didn't get all the documentation from Comcast saying, you signed on that dotted line, then they can't really come after you for that debt. Okay, so that's the problem. There is a lot of times they're moving without actually having the proper documentation to back up them collecting that debt from you. Okay, so a lot of times when you dispute these items, they don't even want to deal with the situation, right? They're like, okay, he's disputing it. We don't have the proof, so we're just going to drop it, and it gets deleted. Okay, so that's a big method on how sometimes things get deleted, is just simply disputing them. A lot of times you guys might do it through the app. You're not actually going through the identity IQ. You're not writing and drafting these letters. You might give up and you might just say, well, it's on my profile. I can't fix it. I don't know how to fix it, blah, blah, blah. Right. And then you go to a credit, agency or somebody like myself that helps fix credit, and we do the process for you, right? We draft a letter for you. We go in your identity IQ report and we find those inaccuracies for you, right? So that's what I'm in the business of doing, is helping people to get these items removed. So this is me, what I'm doing behind the scenes to help you guys repair your credit. I'm doing all this for you, right? But you guys can actually do it on your own, right? You can save money, you can do it on your own. I'm just giving you guys the game so that you guys can, do this on your own if you choose to, right? I also help you guys get funding, because after your credit is fixed, now we can go out to these banks and lenders and actually get money from the banks and the lenders, and we can go out and use that to buy assets, which make us money. Okay. But like I said, it all starts with repairing your credit first, right? We got to get your personal credit together. So like I was saying, back into the body of our letter, we're going to, pinpoint the collection company, whether the account, we're saying the account is not actually ours. And like I mentioned to you earlier, the burden of proof is on them. So if we're disputing that it's not ours, their burden of proof is to prove that it is ours. Okay. And if they can't prove that it is our debt, then they have to delete it. Okay. So sometimes it might just be simply you're disputing that it's not my debt. Sometimes you might be disputing that the balance is wrong. Sometimes you might be disputing that the dates are incorrect, they're inconsistent. Sometimes it might say 30 days late on TransUnion and 60 days late on Equifax. Well, how was I 30 days late here and 60 days late here, right? It doesn't make sense. So therefore, there's inaccuracies on my credit report, and you guys are in the business of reporting to the banks and the lenders, and you're stopping me from getting money from the banks and lenders, or stopping me from getting my first home using the home first time home buyers program. And you guys are reporting inaccurate information in general on my credit report, right? So that's a federal offense, right? And I'm liable to actually sue you guys and come after all damages and losses, because I have not been able to progress because you guys are reporting inaccurate information on my credit report. And here's the proof. Okay. Here's the proof. We have a date here that's wrong. We have a date here that's wrong. We have a date here that's wrong. They're all saying different dates. How can that be true? Right. You guys, as the three major credit bureaus, need to be reporting all accurate information. Okay, so this is how we're going to war for you guys against these credit bureaus, and fighting for you guys, because we want to see the credit scores go back up. We want to see, actually, what we want to see is them to report accurate information. Okay. And if it's not accurate, verifiable, then it needs to be deleted. Simple as that. Right. So um, that's just pretty much the body of your letter. And that was pretty much, going in, identifying the actual negative items and disputing the negative items on your credit report. Now, I'm going to give you guys a tip here when it comes to repairing your credit as well. Who here has heard of Chat GBT, right? I'm sure some of you guys might have heard of Chat GBT. Some of you guys haven't. Maybe some of you guys have even used Chat GBT, but Chat GBT is AI software, right? And we're in the year of 2024. As of today's date, February 18th, 2024, and AI software is a thing now, right? You guys see those AI pictures on your stories. You guys see it through your news feed. You see AI being able to talk and do certain things, right? But there's a website and it's called ChatGPT, which is AI software, and you can actually, people can like, it's crazy what you can do with AI nowadays, right? You can type in, hey, draft me up a essay for my social studies class where we're talking about the 50 states of the the 50 states in the US or whatever, right? And it'll draft you up a whole essay, okay? So that's what we're using AI to do nowadays, right? People can literally, like the students have it so easy for their essays. Hopefully they don't do this. I'm not promoting this or anything, but I'm just saying, they can literally use that to like do their homework pretty much, right? And it'll give them all the answers. It's like Siri, right? You guys know what Siri is, right? That's more familiar for you guys. You can talk to Siri and say, hey, Siri, show me where Pennsylvania is on the map, right? Or you can show, give me directions to whatever, right? You could talk to Siri, and Siri is like an AI where she can pretty much, give you an answer based off of all the data that she's collected through the internet. Okay. That's the same way AI software is working today. And the reason why I'm saying this to you guys is because you can use AI software to help you to draft up your dispute letter. Okay. And that's another method that you can utilize to make it easy on yourself to draft up these letters. Okay. You might not know what to exactly put in your dispute letter, right? Well, you can go to Chat GPT and you can type in, what all items that you found on your credit report that were inaccurate. And you can say, draft me a dispute letter that states that such and such account is inaccurate and unverifiable on my credit report using consumer law and, you know, whatever, right? Or you can tell it to draft me a letter to update my personal information. You can tell it draft me a letter to the credit bureaus to remove a late payment from my credit report. Okay. These are things that you can use Chat GBT to do. Okay. You can prompt it to do certain things. And I even use it a lot of times now where I'm using it to draft up contracts between myself and another individual. Maybe it might be to rent my vehicle and I'm not doing it on the books. And I'm doing it off the books, but I'm using ChatGPT to draft up a contract that I can have them sign and me sign where it's, legitimate and it's using certain laws and things like that to prevent myself from being taken advantage of in the rental car space. Or, as far as my rental properties, right? I can draft up a lease agreement between myself and the tenant using ChatGPT. Okay. So there's a lot of things that you guys can do with AI software nowadays, right? And one of those things is helping you to draft your dispute letters to remove negative items from your credit report. Okay. So that's just a little tip for you guys. Number 6 is you're going to have to send those letters off via certified mail. Okay. When you go to the post office and you go to mail your letters, you want to ask them for what's called certified mail stamps. Okay. And that's basically going to ensure that the person on the other end has to sign off on them receiving the letter. Okay. And it's like a timestamp. So it not only will they have to sign it, but it also show on your receipt, right? You can log in and go to your mail where you sent it, and you can see what date you sent it. Okay. And this is important because when they go to maybe rebuttal, or they might come to verify information, or they might, whatever, they might not respond in 30 days, whatever, right? You have a timestamp on that date when they received the letter and they signed off on it. So if it passes that 30 days when they were supposed to respond, that's another tactic, which is why we get items removed, is because they didn't respond in time, in a timely manner, right? They're required by the consumer law to respond within 30 days. Sometimes they can request for an extension for an extra 15 days, so a maximum of 45 days. But if they don't respond, then that's a federal offense, pretty much, right? They haven't responded to a letter where you're trying to get these negative items removed, and you're presenting to them that they're reporting inaccurate information, and they're not getting back to you in a timely manner. Okay. So that's a reason to get items deleted. Okay. So that's part of the process, which is getting those letters sent via certified mail. Okay. So you have to send them off, and you're going to send them off to all three credit bureaus, right? I haven't yet stamped these, haven't took these to the post office yet, but these are three envelopes of the dispute letters are going to go in these envelopes, and we're going to mail these out to the credit bureaus. Okay. You can see this is Experian. This is their PO box, and this is their address, right? You got Equifax, PO box and address. Experian or TransUnion, this is their PO box and their address, right? If you guys need those, if you need a copy of those, you guys can reach out to me. I have a PDF that has all the addresses and the PO boxes and the names, right? Obviously, TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. So you guys can envelope these letters and you can mail them off to the credit bureaus. Okay. So that's part of the process, right? And this is why I charge what I charge, right? Because I'm drafting up the letters, I'm mailing them out, I'm getting them certified, stamped. We got to print the letters, all of that, right? So I charge what I charge. I charge one-time fee $100 to do your dispute letters and to mail them off for you. Okay, so you're pretty much just giving me the information that I need so that I can perform this procedure for you, and I can draft up your letters and I can mail them off to the credit bureaus, or you guys can do it for free based on this video. I'm going to put this on my page so that you guys can rewatch it if you need to. But pretty much this is how you're going to do the dispute process and get these negative items removed. Okay. So that's pretty much the whole pretty much process. I taught you guys pretty much how to repair your credit on your own. If you choose to do so, you can do so using this method. But now it's just a waiting game, right? After you mail those letters, now it's just a waiting game to hear what the credit bureaus have to respond to your letter. Okay. Sometimes they'll respond with verified. And that's why, if you heard of this term, it's called round 2, round 3, right? Because if they respond with verified, we can go in and we can rebuttal once again, because now we're asking them for the proof. Okay. Like I said, if they don't have the proof, then it gets deleted. Right. So we go in and now we're asking them for the proof in our second letter. Okay. And then if they have to provide, there's a law that states they have to document, or we can request the documentation of how they perform or how they came to that conclusion of verify, right? So how did they come to that conclusion of verify? They need to provide that documentation, that procedure, that investigation procedure that they performed in order to come to that conclusion. Otherwise, it needs to be deleted once again. Okay. So, we're pretty much attacking the credit bureaus for these negative items that need removed. I see you guys' comments. I see Sister Jerry commented, says she needs me with the credit repair stuff. We got Charity. She said they definitely removed some of her items, right? When we Charity tapped in with me and we sent off some dispute letters for her. They deleted some of her credit items off of her credit report. And this is freeing up your credit so that now you can move forward with your life, right? You can go and you can get that first time home buyer's loan. You can go and you can get that auto loan from the banks. All right. You can go and you can get that funding, right? You guys can see on my cover photo, I was able to receive over $100,000 in credit capital, right? You guys can have access to the same thing. It just requires you to have good credit. Okay. And I'm teaching you guys the method on how to do this, teaching you guys the strategies, teaching you guys how to go fix your credit so that you guys can get to the next level. So I pretty much gave you guys the game on the credit repair stuff. If you guys want funding techniques, continue to tap into these calls. I'm hosting them every Sunday about 8 p.m. We went up for about 45 minutes here on this live session. We had a couple of people tap in. I appreciate y'all sending me stars. Nick, Sister Jerry, love you guys. Appreciate you guys for tapping in. Send them some stars. Every little bit counts, but I'm really here to help you guys, right? Really here to kind of, just give you guys some valuable information, the information that helped me get to the next level. I'm giving that to you guys, right? We got cash flow coming from rental properties. We got cash flow coming from rental cars, right? I have $100,000 of credit that I'm sitting on, and I can make certain decisions because I have the capital on hand, right? I can make certain investments, right? When I see opportunities, I can capitalize. Why? Because I built up the capital over the course of time. It took me a little bit of time, but I have over $100,000 in credit capital that I can deploy into assets at any given moment, right? And that's what you guys want to be able to have. That's what you want to be able to do. It's a lot of freedom and it's a lot of power that comes with that, right? If I need a something fixed on one of my rental properties, like just recently, we had the furnace go in my tenant's property, right? Well, it's my property, but the tenant's living there, and the furnace went, right? But because I have credit, I can go ahead and I can fix that thing immediately. And because they're paying rent every month, I'm going to recoup my money. So it's not really a big deal, if a furnace goes. But if I didn't have credit capital and the furnace went in my rental unit, now I'm out of pocket maybe 4 grand that I didn't have, right? So now, I got to go in the negative, or I got to try to figure out how I'm gonna feed my family. I got to try to figure out how I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. And that's not where you want to be, right? Or they're going to have to move out, and then that stops my cash flow, and all different chain effects can happen. But because I'm sitting in the situation that I'm sitting in, I can handle those issues when they come about, and I can recoup my money because now they're able to move forward with renting the property, and they're paying me every single month, right? That's what you guys want. You want to have the freedom, you want to have the flexibility to be able to take care of those issues when they arise as a landlord, and still be able to continue to keep your tenants comfortable and still be able to collect your cash flow every single month, right? So that's enough said for today. Appreciate you guys tapping into the call. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel. And we're going to continue to post these videos on the YouTube channel so you guys can rewatch them if you need to. With that being said, I'll catch you guys on the next one every Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's your boy Andre Kennedy, aka Big Dre, Young CEO. I love you guys. Y'all have a blessed evening. Peace.